Welcome back to our channel today. The Lamborghini Revuelto Phantom arrives like a whispered legend turned real. A darker, more mysterious take on Lamborghini's already riotous hybrid V12 hypercar, imagined as the Phantom. A limited-run, stealth-styled beast that amplifies everything we loved about the Revuelto and then pushes it into theatrical territory. Picture the Revuelto's wedge-shaped silhouette wrapped in matte obsidian, angular intakes sharpened into predatory slashes, and aero bits that look like they were borrowed from an F-22. It's the kind of car that doesn't ask for attention, it takes it. Underneath that menacing skin sits the same technological reckoning Lamborghini introduced with the Revuelto. A new 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12 married to 3 high-density electric motors and an advanced E-gearbox, a hybrid layout designed to deliver both the raw, unsilenced soul of a V12 and the instantaneous shove electric propulsion brings. This marriage produces a number that reads like a dare rather than a spec. Well over 1,000 metric horsepower in standard form, and in Phantom guys you can imagine Lamborghini or an ad personam, Atelier tuning the package for even more. Dramatic delivery and exclusive touches. The driving experience of the Revuelto is already cinematic. A roar that comes from centuries of Italian performance. History with the immediacy of electric torque, giving the launch a violent cinematic kick. In everyday terms, that means sprints that bury the concept of fast in the glove box. Sub 3 seconds 0 to 60 times. Astonishing mid-range shove, and a soundtrack that alternates between cathedral-scale V12 howls and electronic fortissimo when the electrics assist. For a Phantom edition, imagine curated dynamics, suspension and aero tuned for a balance between poise and aggression, calibration that keeps the Phantom feeling like a scalpel on committed corners yet explosive when you demand it on straights. Independent testers have already shown the Revuelto's rapid acceleration and planted behavior, numbers and impressions that underline how this hybrid isn't a compromise but an evolution, where the Phantom becomes more than color and carbon is in its personality. Lamborghini's bespoke ad personam program and the brand's few-off philosophies have produced one-offs and limited editions that are as much art pieces as they are cars. And Phantom, whether an official limited run or an inspired collector's spec, reads like the natural continuation of that thread. Inside, you'd expect Alcantara and carbon forged into a cockpit with stealth cues, black metal trim with contrasting micro-stitching, a minimalist driver display with a night vision aesthetic, and tactile surfaces that reward touch with a sense of purpose. The sound engineering might be subtly reworked too, mufflers and resonators tuned to give the Phantom an even darker timbral character while remaining faithful to the V12's lineage. These interior and acoustic choices would be about atmosphere as much as luxury, turning every ignition into a ritual. Technically, the Revuelto's hybrid layout is fascinating because it subordinates hype to engineering. 3 electric motors, 2 at the front, axle and 1 integrated within the drivetrain, work with the V12 to provide instantaneous torque vectoring and improved traction without dulling the engine's natural character. The gearbox is an advanced 8-speed dual-clutch unit adapted for the hybrid arrangement, engineered to keep shifts crisp and the power delivery linear even as hundreds of auxiliary kilowatts come online in milliseconds. For a Phantom variant, engineers and tuners would have a playground, recalibrated torque distribution, bespoke ESP maps, and perhaps a slightly larger battery or remapped boost curves to make the electrical assistance more pronounced in launch control or mid-corner bursts. The result is a car that feels modern without apologizing for its analog heart. Aesthetic changes are where Phantom editions truly differentiate themselves. Think stealth geometry, more aggressive splitters, integrated dive planes, hidden vents that only reveal themselves at speed, and a diffuser carved like the rear end of a stealth yacht. Wheels could be darker, center-lock forged alloys hiding monstrous carbon ceramic brakes, while the lighting, DRLs and blade-thin taillights would be smoked yet crisp, cutting through the night like a surgical beam. Exterior materials could include exposed forged carbon panels and matte finishes that absorb light rather than reflect it, creating a visual mass that looks heavier than it is. Limited badging and subtle numbering inside the cabin, one of 20 perhaps, make the Phantom feel like a private performance statement rather than a mass-produced halo. Social media and concept videos have already leaned into this aesthetic, treating the Phantom idea as more than a colorway, but as a fully realized alter ego. Ownership of something like a Revuelto Phantom would be as much about access as about horsepower. Expect a small run or bespoke commissions, invitations to exclusive driving events, and tailor-made servicing that treats each owner as a custodian of a unique creation. The economics of exclusivity mean pricing likely climbs well beyond the already lofty Revuelto base. But that's part of the story. You don't buy the Phantom for value per mile. You buy it for the way it reshapes the experience of speed and the cultural capital of owning something rare, visceral, and theatrically composed. Lamborghini's recent few-off experiments show that collectors are willing to pay a premium for provenance, engineering upgrades, and the invisible aura of rarity. For our audience, the Revuelto Phantom is a dream script. Dramatic B-roll of matte panels slicing through fog, close-ups of the V12's throat as the revs climb, interior shots lit like a cockpit with tactile inserts, and on-road footage that juxtaposes civilized cruising with unhinged acceleration. Interview snippets with engineers about the hybrid architecture, commentary from designers about the stealth language, and owner reactions to the launch sequence would give emotional weight to the technical spectacle. The thumbnail writes itself. A three-quarter view of the Phantom at dusk, headlights like twin obsidian eyes. The caption promising a test drive that changes your idea of loud. Ultimately, the Lamborghini Revuelto Phantom, real or imagined, embodies what Lamborghini does best. It takes tradition and throws it into the future with bravado. It honors the V12's brutal poetry while using electrification not as a moral concession, but as a performance tool. And it wraps the whole package in a persona, Phantom, that invites myth-making. Whether you're a hypercar fanatic hung on lap times or a romantically inclined petrolhead chasing sensations, the Phantom concept is an intoxicating remix. Darker paint, sharper aero, exclusive touches, and the same volcanic heart that makes a Lamborghini more than a car. A statement. If Lamborghini ever made a Phantom spec Revuelto official, expect headlines, long waiting lists, and videos that don't just show speed, but sell an experience, a nocturne of power, precision, and persona.